Hi, I'm Roberta. Welcome to my kitchen. Today I'm going to show you how to do something that you may already know how to do, or you may think you already know how to do. But often the simplest things have a couple of tricks that make them even better. We're going to cook green beans. Now there's great debate among the chefs I know as to what constitutes a perfectly cooked green bean. No one wants them grey and soggy, but most of the chefs insist that they also shouldn't be squeaky. So how do we find that sweet point? Let's see if we can do it. I think one of the really important things is to use hand-picked beans, or sometimes sold as baby green beans. Now these little fellows are a lot more tender than the bigger, coarser beans. Now obviously we want to top and tail them because we don't want those bits that have been attached to the stalk in our mouth. And then we're going to boil them. Now, the next most important thing is we're going to boil them in really well salted water. Now, normally you wouldn't measure water for boiling vegetables, but because the salt to water ratio is important, we're going to measure out 1 litre of water for this quantity of beans, and we're going to measure a tablespoon of salt flakes. Now, if you're not using flakes, if you're using fine salt, just 2 teaspoons, but the salt flakes are a lot bulkier. We're going to bring that to the boil. When it boils, in with the beans, just for 3 or 4 minutes, we're going to taste them, make sure they're tender. As soon as they're tender, drain, and then into iced water. That helps lock in the colour, it also helps lock in the flavour, as does the salt. Then we'll toss them with a simple dressing, and we'll just serve them at room temperature, and they're going to be the best green beans you've ever tasted. So, to the stove. So while our water's coming to the boil, we'll get our super simple dressing ready. I have some beautiful extra virgin olive oil here. We want some finely sliced mint leaves. Now the way we slice mint leaves is we roll them up and we don't mash them into the board, we just run the knife through them as finely as your knife skills allow so that we get nice fine shreds. If we start chopping like a mad thing, all we're going to do is push their beautiful, fragrant essential oils into the board and lose half the beauty of the mint. So there we go. Sliced mint, a little bit of garlic, not too much, just 1 small clove. We don't want to overpower those beans. Another good pinch of salt. Salt is flavour. Crush that in. Good grind of black pepper, and that's going to be ready for our beans to be just tossed through that once they come out of their ice bath, once they've cooled down. So in a minute the water will be boiling. I'll pop these in and then we'll come back and have a look. Okay, so here are our beans. Tender, still got a bit of crunch, but not squeaky. Takes a bit of courage to leave them in the water that long, but they need a good 3 minutes after they come back to the boil. Then they need a really icy bath to cool them down. So what's important? Salt locks in colour, chilling them quickly locks in colour, and cooking them until they're tender and no longer squeaky. Now we'll drain these, we'll toss them through the dressing. So they're out of their ice bath, and just one more important thing, we need to dry them. Because they've now cooled down, they're not going to steam dry, and we know that oil and water don't mix, so they're not going to go through that dressing very well if they're damp. So we give them a good pat dry, and into their dressing. You know now, the spoon's here, but I'm going to do it with my hands, aren't I? Toss them around. That smells fabulous, the garlic, the mint. And we'll just pop them out on a plate, ready to go with our beautiful trout, ready to go with anything. So here they are. And the beauty of this dish, of course, is they can sit around at room temperature for quite a while you get the other things ready. They can sit on the table. We're not worried about serving them piping hot. Very Italian, very Mediterranean. Enjoy.